Hi there, I'm Josh McDonald. This is my adversity story of my recent experience with the coronavirus. To start out with, before I share my experience with the virus, I'm actually an actor and screenwriter located in Lewin, Mississippi of the United States, and I had moved back here in August of 2019 to conquer what's now being dubbed Hollywood South. With the rise of Atlanta, Georgia, New Orleans, Louisiana, and of course the entire Southeast, as its own filming location. I just saw opportunity, to work closer to home and work closer to my family. So I packed my bags, left New York City after 4 years of working and training there as an actor, and just decided to come back and conquer something closer to home and make a living off of it. But little did I know at the time, I had avoided, the starts of the current pandemic that we're all currently in at the moment, called the coronavirus or COVID-19 pandemic, because I want to say it was by the late fall of 2019. I had, heard rumors of the coronavirus, but I didn't really think much of it at the time because, it wasn't a global pandemic yet, and it wasn't here in my home state of Mississippi, and I just wasn't worried about it. I was just a regular guy, who was a struggling actor and screenwriter, just going on about his business, trying to save up for a new car to go to Atlanta, Georgia, New Orleans, Louisiana, and all around the Southeast for work in film and television. And it just didn't worry me. It just didn't worry me at all. By early 2020, I had heard, how the virus had, struck New York with such force. And I realized that, in a way, I kind of dodged a bullet. I came back here and inadvertently dodged a bullet because God was looking out for me. God was definitely looking out for me when I did that. So by I want to say it was by February or March 2020, when the virus had become a global pandemic, and I still wasn't that worried about it, but I was still concerned. But once the virus had made its way here to Mississippi, that's when I really got concerned. I took every precaution possible to avoid getting infected with this virus so that way I would be in good health and my family wouldn't be affected either. But less than a month ago, I had, unfortunately got sick. I got sick with the virus over a month ago. Because here's how it happened. I had developed a new routine of, going back and forth to work, just getting up every morning, going to work to my survival job, saving up for a new car, and keeping myself preoccupied, with screenwriting and rehearsing with monologues or my web series, which is on hold because of the virus, and just doing everything I can to keep my crafts in check and save up for a car. But unfortunately, by I want to say it was early April, I had started, developing symptoms, symptoms much different from other symptoms of this virus. And at the time, I didn't know that I was getting sick with it, because on the first day I noticed that I wasn't feeling right was a day when I was at work. And I had started, developing a really intense sinus headache. I was sneezing constantly as the day went on. And as the day went on, the sinus headache just grew worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And by the time I got off, when I got home, I had laid down to try to nap it off, hoping that a nap would make it go away and I would be feeling better. But later that night, when I woke up to get something to eat, that sinus headache was there. It was worse. And the best way to describe it to you guys, it felt like someone took a knife and just stabbed me right here, right in the center of my head. And I kept sneezing, and it felt like my sinuses, my nasal cavity and stuff, was being clogged up. And the following morning on my day off, I had, got up, was still feeling the same, except the headache wasn't as intense. But it was still there and still really sharp, and I had started developing a runny nose and was still continuously sneezing. And then later that night, I had, developed weird chills, body chills, sweating, cold, and it was kind of warm in the house too. It was kind of warm in the house, but yet I was cold, I was real chilly feeling. And I had said something to it about my mom, and she thought for a moment, that it was nothing, that I just got out of a hot shower, I'm being active, so I was sweating because of it. And then the following morning when I got ready to go to work, I noticed a much big change. The sinus headache was there, but the only thing was when I got in the shower, I had started coughing up phlegm. Like yellow infected phlegm, from my head, from my chest, and that put me on alert. That really put me on alert, and I called in work and I said to them, I can't come in, I think I may have the virus, I need to go get tested for it, I'm coughing stuff up. And I called my mom, just to practice social distancing, because of my concern of having the virus. I kept myself locked up in my room, and I said to my mom, I said to her, just don't get near me. I may have the virus. Just do not come into contact with me. I may have this virus. So later that day, I went and got tested for the virus, at the clinic that my sister works at, and later that day, I was feeling better, but I was still keeping myself, isolated from my mom and from the rest of from my animals, because I was concerned for their safety. The following morning, I was feeling much better, and I kept getting better as the days go on and on and on and on. But I want to say it was less than 3 days later, the results came back, and I got tested positive for the coronavirus. And I gotta tell you guys, getting tested positive for that virus is not a good feeling. It is not a good feeling. It's a gut-punching experience. Because it's a virus. Yes, the coronavirus has been around since the 60s, but this particular strain has never been seen before. We have no antidote for it, and when I got tested positive, I was scared. I was scared for my life, and I thought for a moment that my body could end up screwing me over and that I could die from this virus, and I was scared I was going to develop pneumonia. But lucky for me, at that time when the results came back positive, I was feeling more improved. And as the days went on and I kept improving, I had nothing to worry about, and I felt that my immune system was doing its job in clearing me of this virus. And speaking about my immune system, this is something I gotta say. When I was a kid, my immune system was horrible when I was a kid. I kept getting sick constantly, and I was always, going to the doctor, getting medicine and stuff. My immune system just was crap when I was young. But as I've gotten older, it's grown stronger. But I will say, if my immune system had been anything like that when I was younger, if it was crap like I was younger compared to now, I would be dead because of this virus. I wouldn't be sitting here right now making this video for you guys to hear my story and everything, and I would be 6 feet under by now if my immune system had not done its job and cleared me of this virus. And of course, under God's grace. I believe it is God's grace that is the reason why my immune system is much better now, because I would be dead if it wasn't for God, if it wasn't for my immune system. But anyway, the feeling of being sick with this virus was a pretty depressing experience. Because I'm a homebody. I like to be home, and I like whenever I'm not working and stuff. But at the same time, I do like to travel. I like to go around, see people, have fun and stuff like that. But when I was forced to quarantine myself for 2 weeks and being restricted from leaving the house, it was a pretty daunting experience. But lucky for me, my mom was around not only to be my caretaker, but she helped me get through it. She gave me someone to talk to, and she just basically helped me get through the whole thing. As the days went on, not only was the sinus headache going away and stuff, and I was still coughing up junk, but eventually, after the first week, I started developing body rashes, welts all over my body that were hot, itchy, and I was scratching them constantly. And I was forced to put itching cream on them, and I thought it was just me having an allergic reaction to something, some of the medicine that my sister prescribed for me. But I learned that that was basically my immune system in overdrive. You know, it was doing its job, clearing me of the virus, and my body was just having an allergy-like reaction to it. So after like 2 or 3 days, you know, the rashes had stopped, and of course I was feeling much better. I was able to be more active around the house. I got to pet my dog, and of course I got to rehearse for my web series again. I got to resume playing around with the 2 scenes that I have left for my web series and just have fun, you know, do all that stuff, even though I was still being forced to stay in quarantine in my house. But but I was able, you know, to get through it, you know, all because of my desire, you know, to succeed as an actor in Hollywood South under God's grace, and of course my mother. So after all that, you know, with the virus and everything, and with it now behind me, my goal is basically simple: conquer Hollywood South one state at a time, and of course continue writing my own work of fantasy, which I'm writing at the moment, and of course, you know, just make a living as an artist here in the Southeast. And be sure to expect me to conquer Hollywood South one state at a time. I'm Josh McDonald, and this has been my adversity story.